Yourself by Audioslave is actually played with a capo on the second fret, making it a lot easier to play, actually. Someone gets excited and leaving you alone. Now, if you're like me and you can't sing worth a damn, it's best to maybe get a looping pedal or record yourself and play along back with yourself so you can learn how to play vocal lines and lead and all sorts of dickory-doos. Don't just suffer in silence. So I'm reminded of a story. I went to see with an ex-girlfriend of mine, Soundgarden, and I had my cousin got me backstage passes to like a meet and greet to meet Chris Cornell. And of course, this was one of the strictest shows. I was smoking a cigarette, and I didn't know that it was one of those super strict places. I don't smoke anymore, but I used to smoke. And they kicked me out, no questions asked. They're just like, oh, you're smoking, you're out, get him out. I got kicked out of the show. So needless to say, I got wasted outside of the show. I gave my pass to my girlfriend at the time. And I'm like, well, hey, you go see him, you go have a good time. I had a chicken parm before the show I brought with me, and I ate the whole thing, wasted outside of the show, and I was all bummed out. And I remember puking up this chicken parm, and now this is my favorite food, but I remember I couldn't eat it for like a year because it's all I could think about is how wasted I was and how gross it was vomiting up this chicken parmesan grinder when I should have been getting an autograph and high-fiving and partying with Chris Cornell. And she met him, and she told him the story, so he signed a picture of himself that's like looking down, like sad. And he drew a picture of a cigarette coming out of his mouth with smoke. I thought that was pretty cool of him. Another thing is, I don't know if you had the chance to see Chris Cornell, his little acoustic solo gig that he did in small theaters all over the country. You know, I always wondered how are you going to sing and entertain with just an acoustic guitar? You don't have a band to back you up. There's nothing to hide behind. It's just you, your voice. How are you gonna? It gets boring without like rhythm and bass and drums and all that. But I went to see him anyways, trusting that, you know, he's going to be awesome regardless. And it was like the best show I've ever seen with any band. He sounded like a opera singer filling up the room. And that just goes to show you, if you have a good voice, the rest is like you don't even need a damn guitar if you can sing that good. So he's singing, and then he had I know he had a band member, I forget her name, that passed away, piano player or something. He played a record of her playing a piano like a song, and he just sang along to it to like keep her memory alive, and it was very touching. The whole place had like goosebumps, and he sang, and his voice I've never heard his voice. I've seen Soundgarden live, but when you see him in that intimate setting, you can really hear his voice. There's no distortion, your ears aren't ringing, and you can just hear him for what it is, stripped down. Holy crap. I mean, it blew me and my cousins, blew our asses to smithereens. I mean, we couldn't even recover. It's ridiculous. And I've seen him with Audioslave. Very different experience. Awesome still, but it ain't like if you're like into vocals, holy crap. That's what makes you realize, like when they call him like one of the best singers in rock or the best singer in rock, that is why. And I don't think, like, even I, a huge fan of his, didn't know, because, you know, sometimes with Audioslave during certain era, his voice was out of tune a lot. I don't know if it was drugs or if it's competing with the amps. It got better like towards the end. There was a time in there though where he, like, even the Cuban, he's got that Cuban DVD, his voice is out of tune the whole damn time. He said he had a cold or something, but since they were allowed to play in Cuba, they couldn't pass it up. But yeah, make no mistake, he's ridiculous. I guess that's all. Have a good day.